From 2005 until I'd say 2020, and then for a couple of years after that, I assisted an environmental construction company in bookkeeping without much formal training in bookkeeping. I did take accounting in business school. There was like 1 or 2 courses over the 3 years I was attending. However, never formal training specifically for an environmental construction company with all of these transactions that ran through private sector, military, government, etc., right? And one of the most basic things that we did there, that I did there, was I was asked to print out once a month and every week these reports from the QuickBooks system. And it doesn't matter if you're doing Peachtree, FreshBooks, they're all the same. It's essentially in the month, when you do the once a month, you do the expenses so that it categorizes but totals out all the vendors. So you're gonna see office supplies, gas, travel, all those things. And it will stick out like a sore thumb when you look and see line items within that report that ought not to be that high with a comma. In other words, $23,000 on office supplies. How many pens, rulers, Post-it notes are you absolutely buying? Something is getting miscategorized here. And so it was through these reports, these very simple, easily generated reports that I believe even now you can put them on autopilot. One is sales by summary. One is the monthly or the AR summary, so you can see who's passed the net 30 days or whatever their terms are. It'll show up on the collections report. And then you would get a sales by summary, so you can see all the clients who used you in that month, and it will also stick out like a sore thumb if you have a big client and in that month when he would spend $200,000 with you or whatever, I'm just using a number. Why is it down to 20?
Pause. You're looking down at your hands, explaining it to your hands.
Okay.
Look at the camera. You can use your hands, but you're looking at your hands.
Because I'm thinking the documents are on the table. That's how I look. I'm picturing it in my mind.
There's some documents. Okay, so continue.
On your sales by summary report, you will see line items of all the vendors or customers rather. Your sales by summary is your customers, okay? And you will be able to see, sticking out like a sore thumb, who did not spend the type of money they spent with you. If you go back and look at January, as an owner, you would memorize it and you would know who is spending the most money. It's not so you can see who's gonna get catered more to. It's so you can do the check-in. You have to do the check-in with these clients because they could be getting a divorce. This person could be going through all kinds of things, promoted, and you don't know. Usually if they're an integral part of a company, then you're not gonna not know they get promoted, but things can happen. And that is a sign that you need to check in, and you should be already doing that anyway. So seems like, oh, why do I need to look at these? You have to look at them. The bank deposits every week, because what's coming in and what's going out, and you will be able to solve your puzzle and see a snapshot of your business by just looking at these simple reports, right? And if you don't know how to generate them, your office manager, your accountant, but like I said, it can be automatically emailed to you from the system that will generate it based on what's been put in. And nowadays, because everything's hooked up to bank feeds and you're not having to manually key in invoices so that that's your revenue, however your thing is set up, at the end of the day, these simple tasks and practices will help you keep an eye on your business. Even if you're on the move, busy, stressed out, you will be able to see and then direct traffic to your second in command or whomever takes care of it. And that's when you start to have the meetings and ask, what did we buy? Why are the office supplies? Because that's what happened with us. When I was at Oasis, there was like $21,800 in supplies, and I'm like, what are we buying? Like there's only 5 of us, right? How many Post-it notes can we be buying? And what was happening was because they were buying printers and other types of depreciated items that had to go on inventory sheets, we would have never known, but they were buying them at the Office Depots back then, and they were lumping them in with other purchases. And that is where we made the rule. Listen, anything over, and we just called it, even though it's, I think, $350 with the IRS, we called it a $200 rule. anything that's over this amount must be approved, and we put other systems in place like purchase orders so that you couldn't just go and buy anything anymore with your credit card, because we found theft and other things that were going on with some of the people that didn't last with us. And that's how you see things. You have to be reconciling and looking and keeping an eye. And if you don't have the time, someone else has to be doing it within the company, and then they will come to you and give you your findings. And you'd be surprised what you'd find on a credit card statement. I found rental car charges at Disneyland in Anaheim for one of our employees, and he wasn't supposed to use his card. And when I asked, he was like, oh, you know, I kind of remember that transaction. So you catch lies, you catch incidents, and sometimes you just have to make people aware.